Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 Subaru BRZ Limited. Huge shout out to Randy Marion Subaru for providing this sports car for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This BRZ is finished off in WR Blue Pearl. MSRP is just over $34,000. Now this is powered by the 2.4 liter naturally aspirated flat 4-cylinder engine. It's paired to the 6-speed manual transmission, pumping out 228 horsepower, 184 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels, propelling this 2,800-pound sports car from 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. It has a top speed of 140 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 13.2 gallons. You'll expect to see around 20 miles per gallon in the city, 27 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 101.4 inches. Its overall length is 167.9. It has a width of 69.9, a height of 51.6, and its ground clearance measures in just over 5 inches. Now, as we take a look at the exterior styling, we have that classic blue from Subaru to give it a great look. And up front, you'll notice the Subaru badge, front and center. This also has a set of LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. And then there's a lot of cutouts in the lower section of the bumper, including the inlets on both sides. And then there's also the front splitter there, finished off in black, just to tie in with the rest of the black accents. Now there's also two lines that come down the hood. They even extend their way on the top section of the bumper there. And then this model does have the front license plate bracket that is just underneath that Subaru badge. But it's a pretty simple front end design, but functional with all the cutouts in the lower section, and just gives it a great sporty look. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a really nice set of gunmetal gray wheels with that multi-spoke design. We do have base brakes for this model. There's also a trim accent just behind that front tire, body colored for the mirror caps. Really nice lines up on the roof, along with the shark fin antenna there. And then as we take a step back, I think there's really nice lines for this generation BRZ as well as the Toyota GR86. Basically the same vehicle, but we have really nice edges in that lower side skirt to stick out a good bit, and then some lines in that rear fender arch, as well as up front too, just to give it a really nice side profile. There's even lines running right in the middle of that pillar there all the way to the back. Now this model has the integrated spoiler with that third brake light. There's also the backup camera, LED taillights. There's no parking sensors for this. However, we have the dual exhaust in the lower section, reverse light in the middle, and then the plastic diffuser there just to give it a great look. Now, as we work our way to the cargo space, you can use the button on the key fob or use this hidden button that's in that trim piece that runs right through the trunk. So you can push on that to release this. And for being such a small vehicle, it's actually very practical. Now with the back seats up, you have a little bit of space here. There's also some space underneath the floor, but you can also fold down the entire backrest there for that seat to fit in a lot more items. Now I used to own a Toyota GR86, so identical car, where folding back seats down, this was a very usable vehicle for myself. So even with its smaller size, I was still able to bring a lot of larger items with me. So I like the usability, especially again for its size and what you are getting. Now as we work our way to the interior, for this limited model, very nice suede material on the upper armrest there. There's leather and stitching on the lower one. We have the side mirror adjustments, window controls, and then a little bit of storage. And then take a look at these sporty seats. They have a combination of more of that suede along with the leather stitching, all the red accents. They are manual adjusting, so we have the bar, height adjustment, recline, and incline. And then in order to hop into the back seats, just pull this tab here where you can move that backrest forwards. From there, you do have to grab this bar and then slide the seat manually in order to get that out of the way. Now at 5'10", this is not really where I want to be. You could be a little bit smaller and fit in the back. As you can tell, I'm touching the suede headliner here. But we have an armrest, small window, there's a speaker back here. This is mainly for extra storage, but if I had to go a few minutes down the road, I could fit in the back. So you're not buying this for a full 4-seater, it's just nice if you need those seats in a pinch, you can make them work. And then from there, you can easily slide this back and then we can hop in now. Or this is a pretty low vehicle. And as we take a look at the steering wheel now, it's solid leather with all the red accents On this left side, you have your volume, audio adjustments, Bluetooth voice commands. On the right side, we have your Bluetooth controls along with some adjustments for the gauge cluster, and then we have distance pacing now for this 24-year model. Cruise control stock is also on the lower side there. But let's go ahead and start this up with my foot on the brake and the clutch. Let's bring this to life. And coming back to the gauge cluster, you'll notice that the tach is right in the middle along with miles per hour. And then there's also some information that you can scroll through on the left side. So you can use these arrows to go through all of this. You can also swipe over now, pull up a few more performance-oriented features. There's your audio, you even have your distance pacing there, and then some technology features that you can go into and turn on and off as needed. You also have eyesight, which is a new technology feature for the 24-year models, where you can go through all of this as a standard safety feature, which is nice. And then you can also go back and then scroll over to any messages, and then you are back to the first screen. So it's nice that you can go through the info on that side. Over on the right side, you'll notice there's the fuel, the engine temperature, outside temperature, and the time, which is fixed. And then over on the left side, there's a trunk release. You have a dimmer switch. There's one air vent. And then there's two air vents right above the infotainment system, which has a lot that you can go through. It is touch screen, so you can go through all these icons. We have some physical controls like power and volume and tuning. You also have your home, phone, apps, and then tuning on that right side. So it's pretty simple, but it gives you everything that you need to drive this every day. You can hook your phone up to this, so that way you can listen to your music, go through all of that on the screen itself. Now the climate adjustments are laid out very well. You have fan speed, temperature dials, and then some more AC adjustments, and all of these brushed toggles, where you have recirc, you have some defrosters, the mode, so that way you can see on this digital screen where the air is being sent. You have another recirc and then a sync there. So it's laid out very well, very easy to use. Now reverse for this car is over and up to the left, where you have the backup camera with the guidelines, and then the rest of the 6 gears, of course, to go through. And then behind that, there's traction control on one side, and then you do have a more of a sport track setting that you can go into and adjust. We have heated seats for this model. There's two cup holders in the middle, along with some auxiliaries where you can attach your phone. You also have that split design for the armrest there. We have the manual e-brake, and then there's also plenty of room in the glove box. You have the rear view mirror up top along with the dome lights. And then here's a look at visibility. It's pretty easy to see out. It is a small car, but the windows are pretty large. They're in good spots where you can see over both shoulders. As we set off now behind the wheel for the Subaru BRZ, if you're new to our channel, I actually owned a Toyota GR86, a 2023-year model, so nearly identical to this car. If you're unfamiliar with the partnership that Toyota and Subaru had, they partnered together with the GR86 and the BRZ. So essentially, this is the same car. Everything feels pretty much like my car as well. This particular model, however, has the dealer installed short throw shifter. I owned a 6-speed manual for my car as well. It's a little bit hard to tell, but I think I can feel a difference with this short throw. It's still as long here, but the mechanisms that are hidden, of course, is what is changed with that. So it's nice that it's about a $400, $500 option to get the short throw from the dealer. Oh yeah, I can definitely feel that it's much different than mine. It feels much more engaging and how it should be. But behind the wheel for the BRZ, I've made a lot of content with my GR86. So if you want to see what this car is like, take a look at all of those videos. It's essentially the same car, like I said. I was able to take this to the mountains. We've taken the GR86 to the tail of the dragon as well. This is one of the best handling cars that you can buy for the money. Just the handling, this weighs less than 3,000 pounds, so it's a very light vehicle. It's very engaging. The steering is super direct. It is a fun car to drive. It's not the quickest, so this isn't a vehicle that you are buying to hit triple-digit speeds all the time. It's not a quick vehicle in that aspect, but it's definitely something that can handle extremely well. This is a vehicle that Toyota, and I don't know if Subaru has one, but Toyota has a cup car for the GR86. It's like $115,000, $120,000 vehicle that you can buy that is strictly for track driving. So it's not a street legal vehicle. This is a vehicle that people are buying for track events. It's just a really good platform for situations like that. This is also a vehicle that if you're new to the sports car world, you can get into a vehicle like this where it's not going to be intimidating. Even though this is rear wheel drive, you have a driver focused car where you can learn basically how to become a better driver without having too much power. So this is a great first vehicle, but it's also a very competitive vehicle as far as tracking it, doing things like that, and then the modifications that you can do to these cars. I did an intake, exhaust, I lowered my car. I did a few other cosmetics. I didn't really dive deep into supercharging it, turboing it, doing anything like that. But there's a lot that you can do to these cars to make it a well-balanced vehicle. Now, I won't be doing any hard accelerations or any type of driving like that in this brand new vehicle, but take a look at all of the videos of my GR86 to see what this is like. It's a nice economy style vehicle. You know, for the price, it's what you'd expect for the interior as well. However, this Limited even has some of this suede on the gauge cluster up there. It's on here. I had a base model, so I had cloth seats in my vehicle, and I didn't have all of these materials. So I like the premium, or the Limited here. It would have been a premium for the 86. I like the interior. We still have plastic up top though, but for the price, you really can't complain. This is a vehicle that is just going to give you that fun factor. There's not a whole lot to really go through. It's just a driver's car. You can hop in and have some fun, especially with the manual here. It's also pretty easy to rev match for the downshifts, especially with this short throw now in this model. But the brake pedal and the gas pedal are very close together. So it's very easy to drive and learn how to drive, again, especially if this is your first manual. And from second gear, we'll give it a small acceleration. And again, take a look at the various videos I made on my GR86 with doing some 0 to 60 runs, really getting high in the RPM. This is a car that, especially with my 86, I ran between 4,000 and 6,000 RPM. Any higher was really just for some of the video content, just getting high in the RPM there. But this is a car that's really nice to play with the RPM. So you don't have to shift as often, which is really nice, especially for a vehicle like this that doesn't have a crazy amount of horsepower. You can just play with 1 or 2 gears and not have to focus on shifting as much, really just the handling of the car and, you know, taking it through some twisty roads, things like that. It's nice that you don't have to consistently shift. I would say, you know, at lower speeds, you have to get into second gear around some sharp turns versus staying in third gear. But overall, you can go up to 70, 400 if you really want to. So you can play around with the RPM, which just adds to the fun factor for this. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the BRZ. There's really not a whole lot to talk about with it as far as its interior goes, but daily driving it, I didn't have any complaints with my 86. It's not really that loud inside. You know, highway driving is pretty okay. Around the city here is fine. It's pretty comfortable too. Seats are really nice. It's just really what you would expect for a sports car of this money. So there's not a whole lot of surprises to it. It's a simple car, but I can see why it's so popular, and that's why I wanted to buy one myself, to really experience what it's like to own a vehicle like this. I had mine for about 8 or 9 months, so not a long time, but enough to get some seat time and some miles behind this car, and I really like it. I think it's a good entry-level type of sports car that you can own for several years. You can track it, mount it, daily drive it. It's a pretty well-rounded vehicle, and for its size, it's pretty versatile as well as far as being able to fit in items to make this a great daily. But that's going to wrap it up for the 2024 Subaru BRZ. Once again, a huge shout out to Randy Marion Subaru for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. And give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I'll see you all in the next video.